While the current economy has put a damper on much travel as of late, there are still quite a few people who take time off of work to escape the drudgeries of their daily lives and whisk themselves away to far off and beautiful places to relax and be pampered. Things don't always go as planned though, and these dream vacations can often turn into full on nightmares. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 must-see vacation horror films. Number 1, Teresa's. Backpacking through Brazil sounds like a fun trip. You get to see Brazil for what it is, and I'm sure there's some bad with the great. Three Americans, Alex, Bea, and Amy, decide to do just that and end up taking a bus to their next place when all of a sudden, crash! Not only are they stranded now, but they have two British men, Liam and Finn, and an Australian woman, Prue, who are now with them. They meet up with a local girl who is going to take them to her uncle's house, but gets a serious head injury. Eventually, they're at the house and things are suspicious as they find many passports of people who aren't there and a shit ton of prescription pills. Going against a gut feeling to flee, they all stay and get woken up that night by a helicopter. Turns out, this uncle is in the black market trades of human organs, and this group is the next to be harvested. No spoilers. You have to check this out. It has an awesome cast featuring Josh Duhamel, Olivia Wilde, Melissa George, and many more. Sure, there was some controversy when the film released, but it wasn't the intention of director John Stockwell for people to stop visiting Brazil. It is an awesome country, but travel on over to Fandango, Google Play, Prime, or Apple TV to check this out. Number 2, The Evil Dead. We first meet Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, in 1981 with the first installment of the Evil Dead series. We're taking a journey back to where it all started. Ash, along with his sister, girlfriend, friend, and his girlfriend, all decide to take a break from college for a weekend or so, and end up at an isolated cabin somewhere in Tennessee. Once they arrive, they start looking around, and down in the cellar they find an old tape recording that has a lot of incantations on it. And as they're listening to this, all these spirits and demons come out, wreaking havoc on these unsuspecting visitors. What they never realized is that the Book of the Dead is a huge part of this, which then brings around the Deadites. You know, these possessed individuals that don't die, and if they do, they reanimate, which really brings about some terror. There are some things happening in this film that will make your skin crawl, especially with the sexual violence that occurs in a couple of scenes. But to take a look at where this all started with some awesome 80s special effects, take a peek on AMC Plus, Fandango, or Prime, and we'll keep you updated on when the 6th and 7th installments are ready to be released. Number 3, The Ruins. Scott B. Smith wrote this novel in 2006, and then wrote the screenplay for this film. And I feel like it makes it that much more better, as he was able to write these characters in such a way that made it fit well. We follow a pair of couples as they travel to Mexico and are going to see what Mexico has to offer. They meet up with another tourist who's looking for his brother, and then they find the Mayan temple covered in carnivorous vines. The tribe protecting people from this plant are not happy that there's unwanted visitors. When communication is at a standstill due to language barriers, it's best to go the direction people with weapons want you to go. And in this instance, it's up. They end up realizing they're not the first either, and now they have to survive or get eaten by the plants. I won't tell you how this film ended, but I will tell you there was an alternate ending that is pretty gruesome. In the alternate ending, Amy was able to get away, but we see that she was infected before leaving. Then a caretaker at a cemetery hears the tune he was whistling coming from these red flowers at a headstone. And a close-up reveals it was Amy's. Carter Smith agrees with how the film ended and did not want the book's ending to even be considered for a choice. I feel he did the right thing with the way that this turned out. But judge for yourself over on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. And don't forget to check out the book as well. Number 4, Midsommar. There are tons of midsummer festivals throughout Europe, and Sweden has their own as well. For this particular midsummer festival, it only occurs once every 90 years, so anybody would be thrilled to go visit this. Or maybe not. We follow Danny, who just lost her entire family, and her boyfriend is getting ready to break up with her, and head to Sweden to go to this festival because that's what his thesis is about. After Danny and her boyfriend, Christian, get into a fight, he decides to invite her along, hoping to get her out of this depressive episode. Once they arrive, 2 elders jump off a cliff, sacrificing themselves. This rubs Danny the wrong way, and quickly learns she wants to leave. As time goes on, all of her friends are brutally murdered. One of them even tortured in more ways than we'd ever want to know. Eventually, Danny becomes the May Queen and has to decide on the last sacrifice to rid the commune of evil. It's almost bittersweet. She lost her family in the beginning, but gained a new one by the end, even though it was not what she was expecting, nor did she really want to be a part of. And yes, the themes here on mental health really do need to be shared, as well as sexual abuse, particularly towards men, a topic that isn't often discussed. Such an amazing film though, and I guarantee you will enjoy this trip to Midsommar over on Max, Hulu, Prime, Fandango, Google Play, or Apple TV. Number 5, Infinity Pool. Let me start off by saying I love this cast. They played these parts so well, and Alexander Skarsgård is brilliant, as well as Mia Goth and Cleopatra Coleman. We start off with James, played by Skarsgård, and M, played by Coleman, as they arrive at a resort in some fictitious land, where a festival is coming up, and they want to experience it. Well, they meet up with Gabby, played by Goth, and she is a little forward about what she wants from James. And they all end up partying and get into an accident where they kill a local. And because he did this crime, he's now sentenced to death. There's a catch though. If a person has enough money, they can clone themselves and watch the clone person get executed instead of the real you. This turns out to be a part of a larger plot from Gabby and many other tourists who come to this land to commit some heinous crimes. James wants no part in this, and by the end of the film, you can just see how traumatized he is. This film really goes on to show that money can buy everything, even a clone of yourself. Make sure to check this one out as soon as possible over on Hulu, Disney Plus, Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. You won't regret it.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi, I'm Lacey Jane, and these are my designs. Some of my pieces will be in an upcoming showcase at the Annex. If you like what you see, find me at Lacey Jane's Designs on Facebook. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lacey Jane Designs, where you can also contact me if you'd like to purchase any of my artworks. Thanks again.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Number 6, Hostel. In 2005, Eli Roth brought us this film. And there's a lot to unpack for this one. First off, do not eat before, during, and maybe after watching this one. Some scenes grossed audiences out so much they walked out of theaters. And I will say there were points where I almost wanted to. But let's dive in. Paxton and Josh are backpacking across Europe, a time-honored thing. And one night, after out partying, they're unable to go to their hostel due to curfew reasons. So they end up spending the night with Ollie, who tells them to skip going to Spain and go to Slovakia instead. They decide to go there instead, and it turns out to be their worst nightmare. They get there, meet some hot girls, and do what any young adult would do. Well, not long after, Ollie is missing, and so is another girl, and they all band together to find these people. They end up learning about the hostel, that people can pay to torture, maim, and kill. And I'll tell you, they don't leave much to the imagination. Then I just recently found out about the alternate ending, and I wanted to cry. As a mom, I could never deal with anything happening to my kids. So please, just stick to the original ending. That one is more fitting and doesn't bring kids into the mix. But, in the meantime, check this out over on Starz, Hulu, Sling, Roku, Google Play, Philo, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Number 7. The Hills Have Eyes. We originally saw this story in 1977 by Wes Craven, and it's a classic. But we saw the remake in 2006 by Alexandre Aja, and he did an awesome job at this remake. Today, we'll be talking about the remake as it's more modernized than the original. A family from Cleveland is driving across country to San Diego for an anniversary. We have Bob, Ethel, Lynn, Brenda, Bobby, then Lynn's husband, Doug, and their baby daughter, Catherine, and 2 dogs, Beauty and Beast. At a gas station in the middle of nowhere, a creepy gas station attendant tells them to go a different way, saving the family hours. So they do, but they end up hitting a hidden spike strip and crashing the truck and trailer, leaving them stranded. From that moment on, it's a fight to survive. The amount of torture put into this film is crazy, and it's well done. And those kids you see in the beginning of the film, those were actually kids who were affected by Agent Orange back during the Vietnam War. So no special effects there. Make sure to check this out over on Google Play, Fandango, Apple TV, or Prime. You can also watch the original over on Prime or Apple TV. And let me know which one you like better. Number 8. The Shallows. Blake Lively as a total badass woman is one of my favorites. And she does not fail to deliver in this one. We follow Nancy, played by Lively, as she is contemplating dropping out of med school after the death of her mother. She decides to go to this beach where her mom used to surf before having kids, and she has a great time. Meets up with some locals, enjoys the day surfing, and then on the last wave of the day, a giant great white shark bites her leg. She then gets to a rock and stays there for quite some time, fearing the shark. Who wouldn't? But the next day, the two guys she was hanging out with before return, and not long after that, they're both attacked and killed. Now she has to figure out a way to save herself before the shark gets her. Such an intense ride, and the location is absolutely gorgeous. Calling it paradise is an understatement, honestly. Minus the shark. And even though the story takes place in Mexico, it was actually filmed in New South Wales and Queensland, Australia. I'm sure you'll love this film as much as I did. So take a trip to Tubi, Hulu, Fandango, Google Play, Apple TV, or Prime to enjoy these waves. Number 9, The Descent. We've talked about this film before in another video, and this one ends up on this list as well. We have a group of adrenaline junkies who love to go on wild adventures, such as whitewater rafting and spelunking. On this particular adventure, they travel to the Appalachian Mountains to go explore some caves. Except the one they end up going into is not charted, unbeknownst to the rest of the group. Well, they end up getting trapped after a cave-in, and now they're trying to find a way out. But that's easier said than done. The group gets separated and each one runs into these crawlers, which is this humanoid-like creature that has adapted to live in there. And they aren't friendly. Slowly, the group starts dying because of various injuries, hallucinations taking over, or these creatures coming to get them. Now the question is if they can survive or not. And yes, there are alternate endings to this film, which are really good. But if you ever feel like spelunking through the Appalachian Mountains, let this film decide for you. So take a chance and check it out over on Sling, Billo, Google Play, Fandango, Apple TV, or Prime. Number 10, Wolf Creek. It's marketed as based on a true story. But really, there's kind of a fine line where, yeah, it is, but no, it's not. The main character, Mick Taylor, is based off of two people, and they couldn't be more opposite if you tried. Steve Irwin is part of Mick's makeup for that thick Australian accent and his demeanor that just screams Outback. But that's as far as it goes for Irwin's contribution. The bigger part of who Mick is tailored after is a serial killer named Ivan Milat, who murdered at least 7 people between 1989 to 1993. In the story, we follow Liz, Christy, and Ben as they travel across Australia's outback, when they come to the national park named Wolf Creek. All of a sudden, their watches aren't working, nor is their car starting. They decide to just hang out there till the next day. But that night, Mick shows up, claiming to be able to fix their car, and they can come with to his camp. Once they're there, they sit around a fire talking, and then the trio is drugged. Liz wakes up, tied and gagged, in a shed, hearing the horrifying screams of her friend as the evil man tortures her. We don't really see what happens to Ben too much, but he does make his appearance again. I can't spoil this ending, it's just too good. So make sure to take a peek over on Tubi, Pluto, Roku, Plex, Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Thanks for checking out the video. What's your favorite vacation film? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to head over to fatninja.shop to check out our latest merch. Every purchase helps us keep the lights on, so we greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Once you check in, you might not check out.